I battle with depression, but the question still remains. Is this post-traumatic stressing or am I suppressing rage? Yeah, it's not a phase, I just wanna feel okay. Okay, yeah, I struggle with this every day, and it's probably cause my demons simultaneously rage. I'm about to...
In the new Crow movie, the main hero gets to live out the dream scenario of every socially inept teenage boy. He spends his days doing nothing in a rehab center until one day a random girl comes out of nowhere to talk to him.
Hi.
A girl that then immediately invites him to a party in her pants. And when the girl gets killed by shadowy forces, the hero is granted the power of immortality, which means that he can finally take part in social situations of conflict because there's no way for him to lose. The West has not fallen, after all. And as a whole, the tale of the Crow is the same as with so many other movies this year. The first few people who saw it disliked it, and so nobody else really saw it, and it lost a bunch of money. Very familiar.
Here we go again.
Especially for this studio that's on a roll this year. And I wonder why. Maybe instead of spending time claiming my internet videos, you should be putting that effort into making your movies. Who knows?
Well, it's entirely your choice.
And as for why this movie failed to make a positive impression, there are countless individual reasons to point out. I mean, it's supposed to recapture that dirty, angsty 90s vibe along the lines of movies like Seven, and yet there's not a single song from Nine Inch Nails. That already should give you a sense of just how little the filmmakers knew what they were doing. But to dive deeper than soundtrack jokes, the most central problem with The Crow that led it to failure is its nature of being emo. In other words, it's a super dark, brooding nightmare of a movie, which in of itself is not an issue. Seven is awesome because it's dark, Batman is awesome because he's brooding. But despite playing in those same areas, this movie is not awesome. It's the opposite, because it falls into some usual pitfalls that always await when you make a movie with the lights off. The story is so consistently negative that there's not much there to enjoy. The characters are so unredeemably unlikable that it's impossible to emotionally invest in them. The tone is so lacking of self-awareness that you can really only laugh at its forced seriousness. So today, let's put on angsty makeup and dive into the dark world of The Crow to see what went wrong in that darkness. If you wanna make a dirty 90s movie, here are some things you must avoid or your angst will only make you a laughingstock.
Well, you think darkness is your ally?
Yeah, I do.
The first emo darkness problem here is that so much time is spent on negativity that there's no time left for significant positivity that the audience could actually enjoy watching. In the first act, for example, everything is The hero sees a flashback about losing his favorite horse to a horrible fate while his scholar of a mom is busy doing what scholars do. A woman of the night has evidence exposing the villain and then gets dealt with before she even has a chance. The woman's girlfriend gets that evidence against her will and escapes the villain by bumping into police who arrest her for being a pill enjoyer. The hero is at a rehab center where he does nothing but be constantly bullied and told off.
What the f is going on here? Get your together!
As a whole, it's one bad thing after another. The villain makes the woman of the night quit the game. The heroes enforce how terrible and traumatic their lives have been. There's nothing positive until 20 minutes in, when the hero and the girl decide to escape the rehab center in search of a better life. A better life that, of course, consists of drinking and other such activities. And to be fair, negativity by itself is not an issue. It's actually a vital part of all stories. But the reason it turns into an issue here is because this movie is so overwhelmingly negative that the experience becomes tonally flat. It's like an ever-descending line of one bad thing after another. And movies are supposed to be emotional roller coasters. They're supposed to drop down steeply with something bad and then rise up just as steeply with something good. That's what makes roller coasters roller coasters. That's what makes the experience enjoyable. And the reason that doesn't happen here is because even though there is some good every now and then, there's no time to make it feel significant. It is nice when the girl becomes the hero's friend, yes.
Hi.
But there's no clear reason why it happens. He never has to do anything to impress her or get her attention. She just suddenly comes up to him and now they're best friends, I guess. Their relationship feels unearned and thus insignificant. It is nice when they escape the rehab center, yes, but there's no build-up for it. The hero hasn't done any planning or setup which he can now execute because he has a partner to help him. The villains just show up for the girl and then she's like, I need to get out of here, and then he's like, okay, let's get out of here.
Here it is. You see those windows up there? Yeah. That will take you out to the yard.
And then they get out of there. The escape feels unearned and thus insignificant. In other words, the good things are so limited in their time and development that they don't make a big enough impact. They're not loops in a roller coaster, but tiny positive bumps in a descending line, which is not enough. The point is that negativity requires equal positivity to balance it out. Bad things should happen, and then the hero should have to put in real effort to overcome what now stands in the way. In Spider-Man 2, Peter Parker gets constantly hammered down, but is always trying to climb back up. In 7, the detectives get put in a furnace, but they manage to find some cool levity as well.
Yeah, alright, laugh it up.
Even in this movie, there's one really enjoyable scene which happens over an hour in. Basically, the bad guys catch up to the hero and kill both his friend and him in cold blood. And afterwards, the hero comes back as the Crow to finally put these guys in their place. We drop steeply down and then we jump up just as steeply. And aside from that one scene, the positivity in this movie is rare and trivial at best. The hero has no meaning in his sad life, and then he goes on a drinking love trip with a girl he never really formed a real bond with, and we don't care. The villain commits atrocities elsewhere, and then the hero goes on a rampage against random opera guards we've never seen before, which requires no effort at all, and we don't care. The trick about entertaining roller coasters is that they rise just as much as they fall. And since The Crow does not do that, it's not a roller coaster to experience and enjoy. It's a painfully gradual way down that must be endured, which most audiences don't want to do. And not to be too harsh, but this is such a vital area of storytelling that next time I recommend these writers seek professional advice.
Stop it. Get some help.
Seriously, maybe check out the writing software I use called Pro Writing Aid. Actually, I recommend Pro Writing Aid to everyone here who wants to improve their creative writing. If you write and post things online, there's a browser extension to check your grammar and give you style and other suggestions for better ways to say things. Or if you write any kind of stories for novels or movies, you can get detailed analysis reports on your work, just generally or for an entire chapter of a book. It helps you understand what's working and what could be improved, and once you see that feedback, you'll be able to further develop those areas. If you want your manuscript to be publish ready, for example, unlike this movie, then this is a great help to guide you there.
Very elegant. Quite clear.
Overall, if you want to identify areas to improve in as a writer, Pro Writing Aid can be a great help in addition to getting feedback from your friends, and it works on all your favorite writing apps. Click the link below to read more about them and try out their free browser extension. And when you're ready, you can use code Filmento to get the premium version including all the in-depth features with 20% off their annual subscriptions. Another emo darkness problem here is that the characters are so unredeemable and unlikable that you can't emotionally invest in them or their journeys. Looking at the hero, for example, the first thing you can notice is that he's the worst type of hero possible, a passive, inactive passenger. He's in a rehab center, doing nothing, showing no emotion or initiative, just moping around. And even when stuff begins to happen, it always happens to him and for free. He befriends a girl because she comes up to him out of the blue. He escapes the center when the girl says so without having to make or execute a plan. He gets killed because the girl is involved with the villains, and then he's given superpowers because apparently his love for this girl he just met is stronger than any other love.
Sometimes something so bad happens that the soul cannot rest.
Which I doubt. And then it turns out that even his powers are passive. He has immortality, which in practice means that all he can do is get hit without dying and play without stakes.
Oh no! Anyway, last week...
That's it. Until the movie suddenly then decides that, oh, he's now also John Wick somehow. Overall, the hero is a boring shell who does nothing to earn anything and who's then given everything free of charge, which is the most uninteresting, uncompelling kind of hero possible. Even his powers are basically from that Captain America joke.
Get killed, walk it off.
But aside from the hero type, the bigger issue at play here lies in the characters' personalities and their lack of redeeming qualities. To put it bluntly, this movie is full of repulsive people who are tough to empathize or sympathize with or support.
Gonna cry?
For example, in order for this death and revenge story to work, the audience has to care about the bond between the hero and the girl, which is hard because they're both reprehensible people. He's a sad moper who doesn't seem to care about anything, and she's a rich nepo girl who seems to have no purpose in life outside of partying and having a good time. And when they escape the rehab center, what's the first thing they do? Do they leave town to get away from the bad guys? Do they use the evidence to expose the villain to get justice for the girl's murdered friend? Of course not. The first thing they do is go back to the girl's place to pop open a bottle and a pack of pills.
Are you serious right now, bro?
To be clear, it's okay for heroes to be flawed. In fact, it's required. Audiences have a lot of sympathy and respect for characters who have problems and then try hard to overcome those problems. But the key is the part about trying hard. Characters only get support when they earn it. A person struck with tragedy gets sympathy only as long as it tries to push on instead of constantly moping around whining about it. Like sure, it is sad when the girl dies at the hands of the bad guys, but at the same time, she knew her friend was killed for this and all she could think about was going out to party. It sucks what happened, but everyone could see it coming miles away, everyone except her. And it's that lack of responsibility and accountability that makes the audience stay emotionally distant. Oh, she died? Well, yeah, okay. The point is that flawed, dark characters need redeeming qualities to pull the audience in, like how Walter White has a lot of issues with ego and selfishness, but also a lot of other stuff to help see past that.
Walter, I'm having sex with you right now, Walter.
Whereas if the flaws of your hero are based only on his own idiotic negligence, you're fighting a losing battle. I mean, this is a guy who has taken tattoos on his face and who keeps making even more tattoos when he's supposed to be doing stuff. His friend is horribly killed because of him and he's making jokes as if he didn't even notice.
Hold this.
I understand that this is a person with issues in the past, but his actions in the present don't allow me to get invested. There's nothing to like about him, nothing to support him for. He's a guy suffering the consequences of his own dumb actions. Too bad, but it is what it is. Even the darkest, most messed up heroes need some redeemable qualities to make up for their darkness so that the audience can be pulled into their journey. Or else the audience won't come at all.
How long? Not long! 'Cause what you reap is what you sow!
The third emo darkness problem here is that the movie forcefully takes itself super seriously without any self-awareness, which is just pretty ridiculous to see. The main plot, for example, is very dependent on high concept elements. After the hero dies with his girlfriend, he's transported to this weird place with a bunch of crows. And then this guy tells him that his love for the girl was so strong that he will go back as an immortal Punisher to get revenge. And so then he goes around killing off the villain organization one person at a time.
Where is he?
And the issue is that none of these elements have enough prior development or build-up to naturally be as they are. What is this place and why are we suddenly here? Is the afterlife a thing in this movie or something? And why are there crows everywhere? And what do you mean the hero's bond with the girl was so strong that he needs to go back to revenge? He just met her. I'm sure the villain has killed families and whatever. That's a much stronger bond. And what do you mean the hero is obsessed with killing the villain? He's never even seen him before. How am I supposed to get excited for a hero getting revenge on someone who he barely even knows exists?
Who are you? Come on, man.
My point isn't about the logical gaps, but more so about the missing basis underneath the seriousness that would justify the seriousness. The movie just throws in weird dark stuff and then tries to explain them in the moment. These things are meant to be super gloomy, yet they're so dumb that you can only laugh at how hard they tried. That's what this movie is as a whole. It's full of these incredibly self-serious elements and events which have no natural basis to be that way. When the hero walks around the city in the rain, there's always crows flying by him. Why? Does it serve a purpose? I don't know, they're flying there because it looks gloomy. When the hero goes after the villains, he's wielding a samurai sword like an expert ronin from hell. But how? And why not just use guns? I don't know, he's suddenly a sword killing machine now because it looks grim. When the hero kills some villains at the opera, he goes on stage to toss their heads at the audience. Why? Isn't this audience just random opera fans? I don't know, he does it because it's a powerful image. When the villain gets people out of the way, he does it by speaking devil into their ear to influence them. Huh? What do you mean he speaks devil? Is he the devil or what is he and what's his ultimate objective? Why does he make it seem like this woman quit her own game if they plan to hide her body to never be found anyway? Why not just kill her then?
They found Zadie's body.
Here I thought there was nothing left to find.
I don't know, he does this stuff because it's super dark when people quit the game. What I'm getting at is that seriousness has to be natural or else it will come off as forced and tacky. John Doe mutilates bodies to make a point about the 7 deadly sins. Batman wears a bat outfit to scare his enemies and protect his identity. It feels purposeful and justified. Like how here, the basis for the hero using a sword could have been that it's his passion or meaningful to him in some way. But of course no, there's never that kind of natural basis.
Don't mind if I do!
When the hero becomes the Crow, he hangs out to apply tattoo ink on his face for no clear reason other than to look cool. And he doesn't look cool at all. I mean, look at this guy. How's he gonna get anything done when he's walking down the street like this? It's forced and cringy. It's like tattooing the word damaged on your forehead to indicate you're crazy. It's as serious as when that YouTuber called Mr. Darkness 666 put a Harry Potter death curse on another YouTuber.
It's Mr. Black Darkness 666.
I'm sorry, Mr. Black Darkness 666.
So, Mr. Darkness, do you still want him to die?
No, I guess not.
The death spell has been turned off. Drum Alert Nation.
No, I still have to do the spell to end. I have to do the counter spell.
As a whole, it's okay to go as dark and gloomy and edgy as you want, but in order for that to work, it has to feel natural and justified. If it doesn't, you go from being dark to being emo. And then, the darker you try to go, the more the audience will laugh at how hard you're forcing it.
Yeah, I do.
In a nutshell, it's like this. If your dark movie is forcefully ridiculous, if it's full of uninvestable, unredeemable characters, if it's overwhelmingly negative, then you've gone full cringy emo. And you never go full cringy emo because nobody wants to see that.
You went full, man. Never go for it.